Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar today. Thank you for taking some time out to tune in and listen to this conversation. Today's topic is all about how to launch a digital agency without marketing experience. I personally think this is a really interesting topic for many reasons. Firstly, many of the entrepreneurs I speak to are either really excited, sometimes a little bit nervous about getting started. So experiencing that 0 to 1 moment, coined by Peter Thiel, that signifies that major change for them personally. I also speak to a lot of entrepreneurs who've run businesses in the past. They look at digital marketing and technology and they see this great opportunity, but they're perhaps a little bit concerned that their own experience isn't going to be transferable. And what makes today even more exciting is the fact that I'm joined today by Priyesh, our CEO, and also our network director, Richard Dowman. Richard, welcome to the webinar. I thought it might be a good idea just to kick things off by you introducing yourself and giving us a bit of history.
Yeah, thanks, Charles. So I'm Richard Dowman. I am the network director for Eazi-Business, but I've also been a partner in the network for the last 10 years. Charles, you mentioned transferable skills, which was interesting there. I was in the health and fitness industry for 8 years, so there wasn't really that many transferable skills over to a digital business. So for me, it was very much learning everything from fresh. I started in March 10 years ago with easy apps only, and sort of grew from there. I bought into Easy Sites a couple of years later as that came through. That kind of just gave me some time to grow the business organically and kind of get it towards where it is today. Over the course of a few years, I grew quite a good knowledge for the products as well. So my only transferable skill really was training. So at that point, I was about an hour away from the head office in the car. So Eazi-Business were expanding, and Zach at the time had asked me to do some consultancy for the training for some of the new partners. This was a great experience for me on two sides, both transferring the skills that I'd learned and getting more job satisfaction as well from what I was doing, and helping people grow to become successful entrepreneurs as well. So I started to do consulting regularly with the new partners on training. That grew into an element of mentoring from home, but that was kind of where that was all born from. And then fast forward to today, I'm now the network director of Eazi-Business. So my job role is very much around, the training, the mentoring, and looking after those partners looking to grow their businesses.
Brilliant. So you were training people up on how to lift weights, and then you were building apps, and then you were training people up on how to build apps.
Yeah, let's put it like that. So, I seem to do an all right job at it. So yeah.
I certainly think that you do, and I think many of the partners would agree as well.
I hope so.
Definitely, you've got all of the right credentials to be here today and also to support our partner network. I wanted to ask Priyesh a question, and that is, as a seasoned entrepreneur, why do you think the launch phase is so important when building a business?
It's absolutely key, Charles. I think that it's the starting point of your journey. It helps create a really strong foundation and building blocks to be able to build off of. Most importantly, I think it builds momentum, confidence, and belief. I'm a firm believer that your mindset, confidence, and momentum, and being in a flow state can have huge impacts on success within the business. Furthermore, it helps you develop a core understanding of the marketplace, the products, what works, what doesn't work, what clients are asking for. It gives you the ability to forge an early customer base, which again builds in confidence. But I think the starting phase and the launch phase is all about learning, growth and progress. The more that can be expedited, the stronger foundations that can be built, the more sustainable your business will become and the more successful your business becomes in years to come.
Really good response. Like 3 words that I quickly jotted down there were mindset, finding customers, and confidence. I think those are probably 3 of the biggest fundamental blocks that you would build almost any business on top of, and I would love to come back to those topics a little bit later on. Richard, let's talk about learning and knowledge. So when someone joins the Eazi-Business network as an entrepreneur, we take them through live training, and we also give them access to an online academy. Could you provide people today who've attended the webinar a bit more kind of insight as to how these programs work?
Yeah, absolutely. So training runs over 4 days initially. We have a dedicated day for each of the core products. So that's a day for apps, a day for sites, a day for sales and the sales center, and a day for SEO. And that session is built to give you a core foundation of the knowledge that you'd need. And we run these sessions with individual specialists from our team as well.
Excellent. So you've got someone that specializes in app development technology, someone that focuses on sales and marketing, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Brilliant. And Priyesh, when you joined the network, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, you were on the receiving end of that training program. So meeting those specialists, going through the academy courses. How did you find that?
It was a great start. It was a great process to be able to launch my business. When I joined, it was split into 2 key elements. One was the online training academy, and the second was the live training. I was fortunate that my training had been booked in for 3 weeks later, and so it gave me time to be able to go through the online training academy, go through the videos, consume the content, go through the workshops, questions, and so on and so forth. And as a byproduct of it, when I actually started the training, I thought that I was in a really, really good shape to be able to understand what the business offered. And then the 4 days of training, and Richard was part of it, actually, I remember it fondly, was really adding to that initial online learning that I took on. So I think having both elements are really key to a successful launch that is there. And what's really interesting is the proof's in the pudding. I was able to, on launch, able to win my first client after 2 days, which was a huge success. I mean, how many businesses do you know where you can start from a standing start and then effectively 2 days later, on launch, you're able to win your first project and your first client. So that's just credence to the quality of education that I received, I guess. If we fast forward now, we've actually added 2 additional elements to what I look as the launch, and that is mentorship with an existing partner, as well as the success playbook and mastermind, which is a weekly coaching as well. So I think it only adds to it and gets even better. But fundamentally, I think if I looked at what were the benefits, I think it helped me save time. It reduced my stress loads. It enabled me to upskill myself very, very quickly. And I was able to make a quick standing start to be able to launch into the world of digital marketing.
Brilliant. It's great to learn not just about your experience of the training program, but the impact that that training had on you in the days after launching the business. And I think finding a customer after such a short period of time is tremendous. I think anybody would be really happy with that result. One of the things I wanted to double click on is actually the mentoring program. So I've been part of several mentoring programs. I've been mentored by some incredible people, and that's been really beneficial. And I've mentored others. Richard, on a practical level, how does the mentoring work here at Eazi-Business?
Yeah, so once you finish your initial week's training, you'll be assigned a dedicated mentor. This will be for either a 3 or a 6 month period, depending on the package that you selected when you joined. Our mentors are handpicked from successful partners who are located all around the world with lots of different specialist areas of experience. So, for example, we have one mentor who purely specializes in SEO. We have another mentor who is very, very hands-on building apps and sites. We have another one who has built a hugely successful brand with a large team of developers and salespeople underneath. So depending on how you're looking to set up, we can pretty much help you in all of those respects.
Could you give me any? I'm going to put you on the spot here. So if you don't have an answer to this, it's fine. But could you give me any real world examples or case studies where a specific mentor has helped solve a specific business problem or helped a specific partner in some way?
Yeah, so I know of lots of different scenarios. Obviously, I have a very good relationship with all the mentors, and I have spoken to a few of them, and they all feed back to me regularly about these kind of experiences. So, just picking one of them from a bunch, I suppose, here. One of our local mentors in the UK, in fact, very recently, was mentoring somebody coming out of training. They weren't really kind of sure what they were doing, but they did get some traction in terms of conversations and some meetings. Now that partner actually emailed in to me because they weren't really sure about how to deliver a proposal and how to actually get that product over the line and moving forward. So this particular example, the mentor actually stepped in and went through all of the relevant proposals and order forms that they needed. They prepared them for the meeting, and that partner then went on to sell in that very, very early meeting. So that was fantastic.
So it was almost like they held the partner's hand and sat with them while they went through the practical steps that would be required in order to put some really good options in front of a customer, and that led to them winning business. Wanted to segue slightly from support to branding, which I think is another key important element when launching any business, really. Priyesh, why do you think that getting your branding right is important when launching a new business?
It's a great question, Charles, and I think there's so many facets to this question. I could probably talk for quite some time on it, but I'm going to give you a trimmed down, streamlined version of this. So I think first and foremost, it creates a strong first impression. It helps you differentiate from your competition. It helps, I think, establish trust and credibility. People buy into your brand. Most importantly, you build emotional connections to brands. We've all done it, right? If we are Apple users, we would never look at going over to Android, for example, because we love everything about Apple, what's in its ecosystem, and what they represent as a brand. That whole think differently moniker that they use in the business is really, really powerful. So those emotional ties are really, really important. It helps facilitate growth. I'm really a firm believer in that. I think you're getting your brand right can catapult your business to have different conversations, because it's that initial touch point and that first impression that people have. But for me, when I built my own brand, it was about establishing my own identity, my personality, the uniqueness that I wanted to showcase in the market, and really showcase who I am, what I represent, and what my ethos, vision, mission is about under my own digital agency. So lots of different answers that are there, Charles, but I would probably pinpoint those.
Really, really interesting response. And I really like the fact you mentioned Apple because like I'm a big Apple fanboy. And whenever they break out into a new market, it could be the Apple Watch or hopefully the smart ring if Tim gets his skates on, because I've been waiting a few years for that. My immediate reaction is going to be, this is going to be awesome, right? It's going to work. It's going to be stable. It's going to look good. And the trust isn't there because I've experienced the product. It's there because I've experienced the brand and that trust is there. Um, Follow-up question for Richard. What are the options available for people when they first launch their business with Eazi-Business for branding?
Yes, we've kind of got something for everyone here. So there's really three options when a partner joins the network. The first is that they start with one of our established brands. So we have Easy Apps, Easy Sites, Easy SEO, and Full Pivot. These brands offer recognition. So they're a recognition of a global network, and a partner can get going with one of these from day one. So they'll get a branded website. They'll have all of their own contact information already built into that website, and they'll have access to our existing base of marketing materials. I actually started out as an Easy Apps licensee 10 years ago. And you know, it's a really great feeling just to do that training. And as soon as I'd finished that training, I was ready to go, and I was going straight out there, not necessarily with confidence on the first day, but I was going out there and I was making conversations, which is what it's all about at the beginning. The second option is white label. So this is really for partners who've already got an established brand that they want to use our services with. So this includes all of our core products with an unbranded version. So it doesn't have your Easy Apps logo in there. You won't see any Easy Apps, for example, in the URL. And they will also get access to our brand new brand asset management platform. Now, this brand asset management platform has their DNA already in it. So we will input their brand and their colors into our brand asset management platform for them. And then they'll be able to access all of our marketing materials already designed in their own brand, which is amazing. The third option is really for those who want the best of both. So this is for those partners that know they want to build ownership of their own brand, which I think is really important these days. But they also want to hit the ground running, because actually, if you're going to come in and try and build all your own brand, your own website, all that kind of stuff takes a long time. So this service, Brand in a Box, we come in and we do a full brand kit. That's loads, a handful of amazing logos that you can choose from. They define the style, the fonts, the colors, and they implement that all into a fully customizable 15-page website. So you are then ready to go with your fully branded website, and you also get that kind of DNA configured marketing platform as well, the brand asset management platform. So hopefully that covers those options.
Really good to get some insight into all of those options. I think a lot of people may not have realized that all of them are available. I also, and this is from my own standpoint, like the fact that when I'm advising an entrepreneur, I can find something that's a really good fit for them personally. So in the last week, for example, I met with someone who's looking to start part-time with Easy Sites, and actually they're only going to have 12 to 15 hours to invest in the business each week. So for them, choosing a pre-built brand where everything's good to go immediately is the perfect fit. But equally, a few days ago, I met with an established agency who've got a brand that they've had for the last 15 years. And actually, for them, running with the goodwill assisted with that brand is, again, it just makes perfect sense. Priyesh, if you were starting a digital agency today, a brand new one, what option would you choose?
So I'm similar to Richard. I've probably been through the entire process here. So I started off when white label solutions and brand in a box wasn't available many moons ago with Eazi-Business. So I launched under Easy Apps, which was absolutely great. I've since then, once the white labeled option was available, I very much went into that direction. So I built my own brand called Digital Inspired, its own website, branding, brand guidelines, and so on and so forth. Now, I think that the answer to your question, I think, would be brand in a box, definitely. I can only talk about what I've done independently myself, and I've been able to launch Digital Inspired and scale to around 500 clients. And one element has been off the back of my own brand that we've developed there. I think that I feel more personally connected to my brand. I feel a sense of emotional connection. There's a sense of ownership. And it's a brand that I'm really proud to share. And it also helps represent me, helps represent the culture of my business or my company in a really strong way. So even though I've been through all three options effectively that are there, it would be brand in a box, definitely. I think the ability to come to Eazi-Business, to take the time and stress away to build all of these assets out, I think is really key. But launching under your own brand would be my go-to. It's exactly what I've done.
Really good to get that feedback. And I was curious to know if there was some kind of story behind Digital Inspired.
There is, and it took quite some time to think about it, to be honest with you. So I was looking at when the initial inspiration phase was occurring, I was looking at two words. I wanted 2 words. I wanted to be short, fairly concise. I first looked at what we do. We sell websites, apps, we do SEO, and so on and so forth. So the natural word digital was something that was an obvious choice for me. The second word was more difficult, but I took a deep dive into my ethos, my personal ethos of what I wanted the business to represent. And it was a very collaborative thought process in terms of how we work with our clients. So we not only want to be inspired by our clients, but we want to also inspire our clients to future success, future growth, and great success stories that are there. So that word inspired stuck with me, and it was a two-way street, effectively. It was us inspiring them and them inspiring us, so we can collectively do great things together and achieve great success collaboratively together as well. So hence the name Digital Inspired, and that's where it all sort of was founded from.
Amazing story. So it's almost like you're positioning yourself in partnership with the business and you're mutually inspiring each other to achieve success, which I can imagine resonates really well with your audience, right? Because people like working with people they like.
It does. Do you know what? It's very easy to share our ethos, our why we exist and why we do what we do. If you look at the Simon Sinek Golden Circle, and to be able to explain, and I often get asked the question of why Digital Inspired, and to explain it in such a way, people connect with that very quickly and very well, and it actually builds a lot of trust. And so I'm really pleased that, because we had all sorts of other names on the table, I'm so pleased that we went in that direction and stuck with it. And years on, I'm still super proud to share my brand.
Absolutely. I think it is something that you can be proud of. You know, it's your baby. And actually, when I've interviewed our brand in a box customers, you know, they get sometimes quite emotional about that connection with their brand because they feel like it's almost part of their identity and something they're really proud to see not just launch, but actually grow and find success in the marketplace. So I think one of the big concerns a lot of entrepreneurs have about the launch phase is finding customers quickly. So you've just launched a business. You've obviously invested some money to do so. You've also blocked out some time. You're wanting to get a return on that quickly. How would you go about finding customers quickly? what would your advice be? And this question's to both of you.
Well, Richard, shall I jump in first and then,
go ahead.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. So there are many ways to find customers fast, and I think it is probably one of the biggest pain points that new entrepreneurs have. How am I going to do this? How am I going to scale? How am I going to find my first customer to the second to the third? The first element I think that's really important is understanding the platforms, understanding the product that we are selling, understanding what customers and clients need. And I think if we circle back to what we said previously, the training is really geared very well to deliver that. I also think in business, we are constantly learning, educating ourselves and innovating. So finding the right resources for training, mentorship, scripts, and so on and so forth that we can use is really, really critical to launch, because we can never assume or think that we know everything. Actually, if you assume you know everything, there's one road, and that's one road is backwards, effectively. So it's that constant upskilling yourselves and having that infrastructure around you to know what you should be learning and when you should be learning it is absolutely key. Then it touches on what you said, the sales and marketing aspect, Charles. I think it is the biggest pain point when you are starting. It's the most uncertainty in terms of a business. How am I going to get those sales? And so having access to resources, sales scripts, sales tools, sales platforms can expedite that early sales cycle that is there. But on the marketing element, networking and leveraging your network, I think are elements that I have doubled down on, especially when I launched. Marketing from a networking perspective helps build trust, it creates partnerships, it enhances your brand, and leveraging your network allows you to get those quick wins because you're going to people that already know and trust you, friends, families, acquaintances. So I think there's numerous elements here, but I think that understanding the product, constant education, having key resources in sales and marketing and networking yourself would have been top of my list. They're the things that I would have done and have done.
Really detailed answer to that question. I'm almost hesitant to ask Richard if he can answer that question because you've kind of covered so many bases.
Yeah, you haven't left a lot for me. However,
sorry.
No, honestly, I echo a lot of the things that you say there. However, there is probably a couple of things extra that I would try, having recently used some of the tools that we've got. So everybody knows how important social media is these days. And we've recently released a brand new sales and success center. And in there are business center tools. And these business center tools are tools that service lots of different elements of business growth, one of which is social media. So what I would do is I would add my white label business, for example, into the sales center, and I would activate the new social marketing pro tool. Now, that tool would allow me to create 5 social media posts in less than 5 minutes using AI, and it would allow me to sync that up to 5 different social media platforms. And off the top of my head, it's Google Business Profile, Facebook, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn. Now, managing that sort of stuff manually is extremely time consuming, takes a lot of effort, and that's why invariably businesses tend to pay people to do that. So I would use that tool to push my own social media marketing forward at a super fast pace as an addition to some of those things that you mentioned there, Priyesh.
Really interesting. So for you, it's about going beyond personal connections, networking, and actually looking at technology for the answers.
Definitely.
Looking at things like social media management software, actually connecting with people on those networks, new people outside of your own personal network. I have I guess a follow-up question for you, Richard, and that is, as someone that's been involved with mentoring and support for a really long time, what common mistakes do new entrepreneurs make when launching a new business? And as a bonus question, just to keep you on your toes, how best to avoid those mistakes?
Okay. So I think a common mistake that I could probably pick out is that people can spend too much time actually preparing. So, they come out of training and they want to be experts from day one, and that's just not possible. You've got to spend the time having conversations, and that's really where we want you to focus. If you were to come in and try and become a technical expert at every platform, it might be a month or might be 2 months before you even actually start to get into business. So I would always encourage partners to come out of training nice and fresh, got plenty of energy, plenty of excitement, get into things like networking, and just start those conversations as soon as possible. I think something just to go alongside that, how best to avoid them, was the second part of your question. For me, I think that people can very easily avoid that pitfall by themselves just kind of working with a mentor, working in training and learning the benefits. Because actually they can use our internal fulfillment team in the early stages or, forever on an ongoing basis. Our fulfillment team can build everything for you, and they will do that to an exceptional standard for a very small fee, which generally kind of works out to be 10%, 15% maybe of the price that you're charging a customer for one of those products.
Really good response. And it reminds me that I had a meeting with one of our full pivot partners. I'm not going to name their name, but essentially they were nervous about offering SEO as a service to businesses. Now, SEO is a fantastic product because actually, if you SEO a business's website, you can charge them £500 or £1,000 a month. You can earn a lot more per customer. And they felt like they didn't have enough knowledge to talk about SEO or to sell SEO. And what I said to them is, if you spend just one day doing the academy courses on SEO, you will know more than 99.9% of business owners about SEO. And actually, if you gain more knowledge than that, the chances are you'll probably just confuse them because you'll just start introducing jargon that won't resonate well at all. And I'm pleased to say that they actually went through all of the courses and have already picked up a couple of clients. So I think that attitude of jumping right in and getting involved and not feeling like you need to know everything is 100% the right approach. Priyesh, would you like to speak to that question at all?
Yeah, sure. It's I think one of the biggest or most common mistakes is when you start, you're full of excitement, like Richard said, full of enthusiasm. You have these ambitious and grandiose goals that are there, and you look at the top of the mountain, you look at the end goals, and they feel too far away. And that can lead to procrastination, feeling of overwhelm, and actually then you don't really get started. So I would suggest that to avoid that, you should be creating bite-sized targets, weekly targets, and setting actionable steps on a weekly basis to meet those targets. If you start to build out those targets on a week-by-week basis, it becomes almost like a compound effect. 1 week builds to the next, builds to the next, builds to the next, and suddenly your month looks unrecognizable because you have split them up. And as a simple example, your first week could be only go to 2 networking events this week and book in 2 meetings. That's all. No sales, just to get you started. And everything you do, every single action point you do, every single trigger that you have to make that happen is solely targeted towards that. That is wholly different to looking at your end goal in a year. I want to be making £100,000, for example. That feels eminently so far away. But if you build in those small snapshots of actionable steps, I think it's one of the most common mistakes people don't do, and they look too big picture rather than granular.
Absolutely. So it's about making things manageable and giving yourselves, I guess, realistic deadlines to get things done as well. So I've got one more question to ask both of you. But before I ask it, I just wanted to put a shout out to the audience. If you've got any questions, put them in the questions panel. I've got time for a couple of them at the end. And it would be great to include them as part of this session. But from me, my final question to both of you is, why do you think Eazi-Business is a good option for new entrepreneurs looking to launch a new business? And I'll ask Richard first.
Sure. I could pick out a lot of options, to be honest. I'm just going to focus in on 3 here. The level of training and support that you're going to get with this business is far over and above anything else I've ever seen. You know, I obviously have a good relationship with all of the support team that we have, all of the mentors that we have. I, hand on heart, know how hard all of them work to go above and beyond to help new partners, especially, become successful. So that's a really important element of Eazi-Business to myself. But also, I think that is one of the most important things for new entrepreneurs looking to launch a business. The resources that are there behind the scenes. So we're talking about help desk articles. We're constantly building and developing that. We are constantly building and developing our online academy with new resources on there, training videos on how to build apps, recording from group partner sessions, both from myself and the mastermind sessions that Priyesh is running. So it's all documented. You can always watch it back and you can continuously upskill. Not only that, but the new digital asset management platform is amazing for managing all of your brand resources. You want to translate something in there, you can just type over it and download high quality PDFs. All the branding is there. It really is awesome. And my last point would probably be innovation. Historically, I mean, as a person, I've always got bored of things quite quickly. 10 years after starting this business, I'm still incredibly excited by it. There's always a constant evolution of products. There's always new businesses looking to buy, and there's always new stuff to learn, either in the business or surrounding knowledge that goes alongside it. So it's a real enjoyment for me to see how the company innovate, and that I can be part of that journey as well. And I think our partners appreciate that also.
I certainly think that they do, and I've gathered that feedback many times, especially on the innovation front. I think you've got to be innovative if you're in this space. I think it's essential. Same question to Priyesh.
Yeah, I'm going to slightly differing. There's going to be a bit of crossover, but slightly different answer. I'm going to split this answer into 2 quick parts. One is focused on Eazi-Business, and the other one is much more personal to me. So I'll just share the Eazi-Business side of things. So something we've created in the business is our 4S framework. It underpins everything we do and is at the core of our mission to create success stories in digital marketing globally. So what are the 4 S's in the framework? It is start, scale, support, and success. Now, start is the first S. It's how do we help you launch? We get you set up with your own brand, your own website launch. We offer training, mentorship. We set you up on all the platforms and various resources to be able to launch. So that is almost like the launch pad of your business. The second S is scale. How do we help you grow? How do we help you gain clients? And so we provide sales and marketing platforms, lead generation tools. sales scripts. We've got all sorts of resources that are available to the network to help them drive further sales in their business. The third S is support. And like Richard touched on, I do firmly believe it is the most important. We've got an expert support team, a great creative design team, and a custom development team. But also, we are able to design, build, and publish all products on your behalf, an entire fulfillment team that is there. So actually, you're not, as an individual, you're not buying a business and you're there by yourself. You're actually buying a team and an infrastructure that sits behind you. And I think both me and Richard have said that's probably top of our list there. And then the fourth S is success. How do we create success stories with all the resource, the team, the people, innovation, to create great success stories globally? And so that is our mission, that is our framework. And so that is the starting point. And I think that it makes Eazi-Business fundamentally different to most of our competitors and what is out there on the market. But I'm going to finish off with a personal note. Why did I join? Why am I still running a digital agency under Digital Inspired? Well, firstly, it's a massively growing market. It's innovative, it's exciting, it's constantly changing. And I think that excites me personally on a day-to-day basis. Our core products, websites, apps, and SEO, are all high demand products. Every business needs them. Every business is looking out for these, and they're looking for suppliers that they trust to work with. The third piece is easy to use platforms. They are drag and drop, they're intuitive. So it means building out our products are great within this marketplace. It means we can expedite the process that are there. The fourth piece is the working conditions, I guess. It is flexible and remote. I'm able to work when I want, based on my own terms. I'm able to work anywhere I want, anywhere in the world. If my kid has a play, I'm able to take that time off and go and see him, or even a sports event. I'm able to go and do those things. That's really important to me. And the final piece is the products have really high profit margins. So it means that the business from day one is very profitable and very, very scalable. So I've answered the Eazi-Business side of things, but I think the personal element is probably more pertinent. It's why I joined. It's why I've still got a digital agency. And it's why I'll probably have a digital agency in 10 years to come, to be honest with you. So yeah, hopefully that's answered that really, really well for you, Charles.
No, I really like that response, and I like the fact that you kind of put in two different perspectives. I think that that's really, really useful. So I've had a couple of questions in from the audience, and I'm mindful of the time, so I'm just going to ask one question to each of you, starting off with Richard Dowman. Someone anonymously has asked, is it possible that one person can run such a business? Will I require assistance in running the business? And I think that that's a really good question, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there who either don't have a business partner or they don't have the funding to hire anyone when they first start. Could you speak to that question at all, Richard?
I definitely could, because I started out just on my own, and 10 years later, I'm still a partner just on my own. So whether, for the first part of that question, is it possible? 100%. Do you need help? Probably, but that's what Eazi-Business are here for. So lean on those fulfillment teams, lean on support, lean on your mentor, and between all of those three things, you'll feel like you're 20 people,
Brilliant. And second quick fire question to Priyesh. This has come from Andre. So his question is, when I launch, I am new to the market, which is why I'm going to go with one of the Eazi-Business brands to create trust. But in time, I'm looking to create my own brands. Taking a number of clients as a milestone to make that switch, which number of clients would you recommend? Priyesh, what would your response be?
Yeah, so I've been down, like we touched on, exactly the same road as Andre there. I think realistically you could start your own brand within 5 or 6 clients. You'll have the revenue and some initial experience to be able to do so. When did I do it? I did it probably in and around the 30 client mark, and then jumped there. So, but I think certainly I would say within 5 or 6 clients from there upwards, you'll be able to build your own brand. And I think Andre would be very successful at doing so thereafter.
Brilliant. Great to get that feedback. Well, I want to finish up today by firstly thanking everybody who's made the effort to attend the webinar. To demonstrate my thanks, we are going to be running an exclusive offer for you all today. Up until the end of the year, we will be discounting the joining fee of Easy Apps and Full Pivot by £2,000. So it's an incredible offer, which I'm sure will be really appealing to many of you out there. It is going to be limited to the next 6 people that join the network. So I would recommend strongly scheduling in a call with our business development team to discuss next steps sooner rather than later to avoid disappointment. And finally, I'd like to thank Priyesh and Richard for both giving up their valuable time today. Hopefully you found everything to be really insightful, and it's been an absolute pleasure on my side to speak with you both. Take care.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.